All right. So, my name is Benjamin President, and this is my topic for law. It will be Colin Kaepernick versus the National Football League. And thrown in this will also be bits and pieces about Eric Reed in his case, as well as a comparison to the NBA and how they handle protest. So, why this topic? I chose this topic to shine light on how the NFL mistreats, mishandles players' protests, and how this could be a violation of their rights um, and a violation of more than one law. Um, with a more in-depth observation, it revealed that not only was the way the NFL handled the situation a violation of rights, but it was also a violation of a labor contract between the NFL and the Players Association. Um, and this is something that not many people even talked about during the Colin Kaepernick trial. They also never talked about it when Colin Kaepernick originally talked about his lawsuit, because not a lot of people even know about it, and then the Players Association for the NFL didn't even speak up, which I thought was very interesting. So the overall feeling is that the NFL was in the wrong, and Reed and Kaepernick should have had strong cases against the NFL, but we will see in this PowerPoint if that was proven true. Okay. So the issue at hand. The First Amendment guarantees freedom of expression by prohibiting Congress from restricting the press or the rights of individuals to speak freely. So that is the part of the caveat about the First Amendment that I wanted to pull out to show the audience that the NFL violating this was a direct violation of Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed's rights. Besides the fact that blackballing is illegal in the United States, and the league policy that I just spoke about also prohibits owners and management of these NFL teams from blackballing as well. So it was kind of a three-part violation, but we only really speak about one, and then Kaepernick only filed a lawsuit for one. So I thought that was interesting as well. Actions taken. So if you can see, the lawsuit Kaepernick filed against the NFL was one that he only talked about blackballing. He wanted to have a lawsuit for blackballing, never brought up the policy between the NFL and the Players Association. Also never brought up the fact that it was a violation of his First Amendment right, which I thought was interesting, because when looking at the information, you would think that the stronger case would be one of the other two that he didn't go with. But instead, he decided to go with these. And at the end of his lawsuit, because it never went to court, he ended up settling, him and Eric Reed ended up settling for an undisclosed amount of money. Now, what I looked it up, was that they are assumed to have made, between the two of them, $10 million, which I thought was pretty low. And even when looking at other articles and other websites speaking about the lawsuit, a lot of people are upset, not only because they feel like Kaepernick gave up on his cause, but they also feel like he could have won the lawsuit and made a lot more money. Especially for a guy that was unemployed for 3 years by the NFL. You would think that him, more than Eric Reed, needed that money, even with the endorsements. And then this could have gone another way. So the first bullet is the NBA handles protests totally different. An example of this would have been at the ESPYs a couple years back, when LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Paul stood on stage on national TV, speaking about the injustices that are happening across the United States and African American communities. And the NBA stood proudly behind them. Another example of this would have been the NBA players such as LeBron, and even lower tier players like Shabazz Napier, wearing shirts such as "I Can't Breathe" or "I'm More Than an Athlete" in protest on national televised games. And then when Adam Silver was asked about this, the commissioner of the NBA, he proudly stood behind his players, stating that he wanted them to have their own voice and to use their platform to encourage and make the world and their communities better. And I thought that was really interesting because the NFL literally did the complete opposite. So that goes to my second bullet, which is the NFL could have supported Kaepernick's stance. They could have supported Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid's stance. This was clearly a nonviolent protest and one that did not shine the light on him. It wasn't like Colin Kaepernick or Eric Reid were looking for any type of moxie with this. They were literally just trying to state how they felt about a specific situation off the field of play. And the NFL could have stood behind them. And I think it would have looked better for the NFL and for Colin Kaepernick for both parties to stay together instead of having this big split. Blackballing was overkill for a player that had already lost his job. So at the end of the 2016 season, Colin Kaepernick was a free agent, and during his free agency, he wasn't able to even really get calls because NFL ownership had come together, allegedly, and made the decision that they didn't want Colin Kaepernick in the NFL anymore. Now, most NFL owners, or all the NFL owners, are older Caucasian males, so there was a sense that there was underlying racism behind this, which is why a lot of other NFL players did not like this. And then that leads to, of course, my last bullet, which is this message. This was the wrong message to be sent by other NFL players, because it speaks volumes to the other NFL players, stating that you can't have a voice